while you're young, we learn attachment styles. Attachment styles, again, very simply, someone with a secure attachment style has an understanding and can give and take and is okay with somebody leaving, somebody coming in. They understand object permanence, and it's a pretty balanced scenario. There's no right or wrong in any of these. It's how we learn to cope to get our needs met. An anxious attachment style will be someone, and you will identify these people because they will make an effort to make sure that they are enough to gain that help, support, and relationship that they desire. But it also can go a little bit to the point of, am I not enough for you? That creates an anxious situation because they will continue to say the right things and do the right things and anticipate what you might be thinking to ensure that the relationship stays stable and secure, and they will reach out to do whatever is necessary, go above and beyond. These are givers. These are people who give too much. And the quick way to describe an anxious attachment is someone who feels anxiety and feels like they are not enough, or they're being told they are not enough in a relationship. Somebody who is an avoidant attacher, they are somebody who maybe when they were little, they had a perception that their grown-ups, their caretakers left, and they didn't know if they were coming back or not. So at that point, they protected themselves so that they could not be vulnerable. As we grow, an avoidant attacher will be somebody who is charismatic, attractive, sparkly object, interesting. And even in the best of relationships, like it'll be amazing, they will be very uncertain that they can feel vulnerable in the emotional connection in the relationship, and they will break off even the best relationship so that they're protecting themselves. An anxious and an avoider are a perfect match for fireworks, like that movie Moment of Action. And what will ultimately happen is the fireworks will fizzle because the anxious attacher will say, am I not enough? And the avoidant will say, you are not enough. And so it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. The same thing is going to hold true, that security of what's vulnerable with us, with the things that we have in our lives. What does this represent is what's so important. And identifying the things we own, what kind of hold do they have on us? This is actually how I help people through grief, being a widow. When you can invite grief in, or invite this emotion in, invite the feeling of, I need to protect the fact that I've got too many things, or someone I loved is hoarding, because I don't want anyone else to know about this vulnerability. And if you are protecting it so tightly, then it may have a hold on you. But if you can invite that in and identify what's valuable in it so it doesn't have a hold on you, it can help to move you forward.
Thank you for sharing that with us, because I find lots of people that are responding to us, and just even in the chat room here, that are frozen in the same exact situation where they've sabotaged their own relationships because they either were the attacher, like you said, with the one side or the other. And so that becomes really frustrating when, even not knowing what you just explained to us, they're trying to figure out, how do I fit into this bigger scenario? And then what are the next steps? We've got a couple people here. Maggie says, my mother was a hoarder, but she didn't give me what I needed. I have the same problem. Candace says, hello, everyone. I'm struggling in this area. I do recognize my clutter is my cocoon, and I've always been very sensitive.
Right.
And so we've got a couple of comments coming in right now that, I mean, these are heartbreaking to me, but my clutter is driving me crazy. Everywhere I look, there it is. It still is. There's not one flat surface that's not cluttered. How can I get past the paralysis? I've been like this my whole life. So what we're seeing right now, and I want to stop for just a second before I let Michelle continue, because I want to highlight the fact that you guys are not alone, okay? This is not something you guys are experiencing alone. We're all here experiencing this together. And so one of the reasons we're having this conversation today, and now that we know a little bit more about those relationships, I want to encourage us to be willing Okay. This is the homework assignment for this week. I want us to be willing to take an honest look at ourselves and say, which side of that attachment am I? And am I okay admitting it? Because we can't work through it if we can't admit it. And if we can admit it and we are aware, then we have choices,
Right.
right?
So true. And you are not as alone as you think you are. The other thing to that point is understanding that vulnerability, if you share your vulnerability in the right place, in the right way, it will actually become a strength. But it is so counterintuitive to think that vulnerability could be a strength. And in the questions from the wonderful, caring people who you had just brought up, these questions are just that. I care about the relationship I have with my mother. I've so much so that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Where else would you have had a role model to learn anything else? So, really, it's a matter of taking a moment and taking a breath and understanding what is out of your control. Within that, what is in your control. And then, what is the first next best step to take? And if you want to, do create tiny habits, a tiny step. If maybe I can only clean one tiny corner of the desk so that I can see one clean area, even if it's putting everything else into another area, then it's that one bit of inspiration that may help you get to step two. I'll never ask anyone for a 180-degree turnaround. It's just going just outside your comfort zone and realizing that you are safe.